You are listening to America First Radio.
And we're gonna win. And we're gonna make America great again.
Here is your host, Paul Adams.
Welcome to episode 1 of America First Radio. I would have never thought the day would come when I'd be doing podcasts and radio. But here we are, 2016, at age 63, taking it on. I'm all in for Mr. Trump. I hope he's doing well. I pray for him and his family daily. He's our last hope if America is to remain sovereign. We've already seen what globalism has done to Europe, has decimated it. See, globalism is a counterfeit nirvana. It promises Shangri-La, but it delivers hell on earth. And its sole purpose is to usher in a one-world government governed by a leader who has total and absolute power. And it disguises itself under various brands. We hear of multiculturalism and ethnic diversity, for example. And let's just pause here because for millennia, nations have existed and they have not been the cesspools of bigotry and racism. They have allowed foreigners to assimilate within their borders. So don't ever invoke racism and bigotry as your defense for globalism. As we have just witnessed, Britain has just won its independence, which should remind us of how we felt, of how our forefathers felt when they won their independence from Britain. Britain won her independence by referendum, and Americans won theirs by blood and horror. A plebiscite is always preferable to carnage, and perhaps that's the key to a peaceful, prosperous planet. Which leads me to the issue of the Constitution and the voice of the people. And to our current President, Barack Hussein Obama. And you got to keep in mind, I wish the man no ill. We are all sinners, we have all fallen, and we can all make amends and correct our course. And his fate is ultimately in God's hands. On June 19th, feeling the groundswell of opposition to this imposter, because let's face it, he's no more pro-America than Nikita Khrushchev was pro-American. On June 19th, I wrote this missive on a JPEG file because Twitter only allows us 140 characters. And I tweeted to key influencers in the media and the government. And this is what it said. Quote, "We are done with Obama. He can't remain in office one more day. We don't want him impeached. We want him arrested and tried for treason as per Article 3, Section 3 of the Constitution. It takes only 2 witnesses to accuse him of treason. We have dozens of witnesses and no lack of evidence. No grand jury is needed to determine if he has committed a high crime. Neither the House nor the Senate need to be involved. Obama has stomped on the Constitution, has fast-tracked treasonous treaties, and signed unconstitutional executive orders. We, the people, will decide his punishment by plebiscite." That's right, we're invoking Amendments 9 and 10, and we are fast-tracking this. We are overruling Article 3, Section 3, the last clause that gives Congress the power to determine the punishment. As the employer of this treasonous commander-in-chief, we want him arrested and court-martialed forthwith. As per Amendments 9 and 10, we, the people, reserve rights and powers which come into effect when our employee, the Lame House, the Senate, and the Executive have failed us. We are left without other recourse in trying to establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. Our government has failed us miserably. We have an ISIS collaborator posing as President of the United States, who is nothing more than a Marxist tool trying to destroy this nation. And we can't wait for his term to expire for the next terrorist attack. He will most likely do the greatest damage as a lame duck president. Arrest Barack Hussein Obama and get him into court for trial. The people, as employers of this government, demand it, order it. Mess with the American people and you'll be messing with God himself, from whom we derive our liberty. It takes only 2 witnesses to initiate the process as per Article 3, Section 3, that says, no person shall be convicted of treason unless on the testimony of 2 witnesses to the same overt act or on confession in open court. So there's no need for a petition or for impeachment proceedings. America will have hell to pay if Obama is not arrested, tried, and convicted. Get it done. Get it done now, with all due haste. Signed, Paul Adams. End of quote. So far, no arrests have been made, and I haven't been struck by a drone. And don't think for a minute the government can't have me located, okay? Every person on the map can be pinpointed with a smartphone. The government has all kinds of GPS and surveillance apps. That's a given. But back on point, the Constitution and the voice of the people. Teddy Roosevelt often talked about self-governance. In the case of Obama, let's set aside for a moment his various defects. Let's set aside the Fast and Furious debacle, the executive orders which have shred the Constitution, as in the NDAA, his funding of the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt, leaving over 2,000 military equipment in Iraq with keys in the ignition for ISIS, his gun-running operation in Libya that left 4 Americans dead after he denied their pleas for backup, not twice, not 3 times, but over 600 times. Let's put aside also his complicity in allowing state secrets to be hacked from Hillary Clinton's private, unsecured Mickey Mouse server. Let's put aside all that for a moment. Let's pretend it never happened. I know it hurts to try, but stick with me, okay? We the people, as employers of the president and of the rest of the charlatans who pose as the people's servants and their representatives, we the people should have a say in the hiring and the firing process. Let's go back to the Constitution and see how our founding fathers preambled the social compact, because that's what it really is. It's a contract between the employer, us, the people, and the employee, the elected officials, the appointed officials. Let's see how it reads. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. Do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. Notice the words, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. The Constitution is a social contract drafted at the behest of the people, not at the behest of the government. In an age of superdelegates and super predators who are posing as the people's servants, we should also refer to the 9th and 10th Amendments. And you have to remember, the Bill of Rights was not part of the original Constitution. The Bill of Rights was added as an afterthought. For any patriot, or any person for that matter, who believes the Constitution is immutable, cast in stone, and should never change, just remember there have been over 11,500 proposals for amendments since the inception of the Constitution. And only 27 of those proposals have made it as amendments, after long debate and ratification by the state legislatures, sadly enough. Doesn't it strike you odd that the people's collective voice would not have a say in the ratification of an amendment to the contract which the people ordained? But I digress. The 9th and 10th Amendments, and you can read them at your leisure, specify that rights and powers not contained in the Constitution devolve on the people. And that's really a mouthful. What the founders were essentially saying is to us, look, we did the best we could in an age of carrier pigeons. With no electricity, we toiled under heat and humidity and flies. We had to adjourn in time for the Philadelphia legislature to convene in 1887. And this is the very best we have to offer you, our fellow American descendants. The powers and rights to self-government, however, ultimately reside with you, the people. They really didn't have to say that. It's almost implied. The Declaration of Independence concedes, underscores, it makes it self-evident that it is the people who are the governors of their fate, the masters of their fate. And do you see where we are now? I can see where we are. You know, the definition of insanity is repeating the same actions over and over and over and over and over again while expecting the results to change. Nothing will change under the current model. As long as men and women can be corrupted, they will continue to be corrupted. The donor class, the special interests, will continue to corrupt them. The media will continue to cover up the corruption, and the republic will rot from within. You know, you can disagree with me if you like, but look at the trajectory we're on. Look at the systemic defects of our system. Look at the embedded corruption in government. You would have to be a lobotomized Neanderthal on acid to think that things are going to get better. with this model, the current model. America first, which is Mr. Trump's mantra, slogan, and mine also, ours. It also means first in innovation, and that includes innovating a model of corruption-free, corruption-proof government. Would you not agree with me? Let's never forget on this 4th of July that the Founding Fathers were some of the most radical innovators in their generation. It seems like God breathed into them a radical concept, the concept of liberty as a product of government that is of, by, and for the people. A novel idea. The people. I love the sound of those two words. The people. Doesn't it feel like the rush of a fresh breeze? I love the American people. And I know also that Mr. Trump loves us, the American people. Teddy Roosevelt, in his words, said this. I have a recording of him.
The great fundamental issue now before our people can be stated briefly. It is, are the American people fit to govern themselves, to rule themselves, to control themselves? I believe they are. My opponents do not. I believe in the right of the people to rule. I believe that the majority of the plain people of the United States will, day in and day out, make fewer mistakes in governing themselves than any smaller class or body of men, no matter what their training, will make in trying to govern. I believe again that the American people are as a whole capable of self-control and of learning by their mistakes. Our opponents pay lip loyal to this doctrine, but they show their real beliefs by the way in which they champion every device to make the nominal rule of the people a sham.
And many, many others before him and after him have said the equivalent. Now, I have an idea to propose. It is on the far side. It is radical. It's out of the box. I think it's an idea whose time has come. And you know, ideas are very powerful. They're more powerful than weapons. But before I give you the idea, I think I should wait till the next episode to give you the idea so you have a chance to digest what you've heard so far. And perhaps to finish off this episode, I want you to hear what Speaker Ryan has to say about all this in a phone interview in which I'm not sure if he was at a loss for words or if he was too close to the microphone. But here's what he had to say. Until next time, America first. God bless.
Thank you for listening to America First Radio. 2 recorded messages will be included in the next program. Please call 424-354-9788 to leave your comments and questions. That's 424-354-9788.